Hi and welcome to this demo on the new features in the FBM Pack. The FBM Pack previously was just released as multi-FBM and single FBM, but since there's a third one added, the vector FBM, in this release, it's now just called FBM Pack. And you can download it as always at mari.dscale.com. However, this particular version is only available for Mari 2.5. And let's start with the single FBM, and you can create it two ways. You can either use under procedural, there's a custom folder and an FBM, and there's all of those in there. Or you can just tab and type FBM, and you immediately get it. And it hasn't changed that much from the previous version. However, there's a few new options available, and let's quickly go over those. So we got the size. Still controls the main size. Octaves, it's kind of like the details, and linearity defines the size of the small features. And the first new value is the amplitude, and basically it kind of acts like a fade out effect, making features a bit softer, while the gain crunches up the value between the octaves. Offset is a new one. That's like a frequency offset. If you just hover over each attribute, you get a bit more of an explanation. Not always, but I edit it most of the time. Baseline is a new value as well, and that's just an arbitrary value that gets added to the noise and multiplied with the noise. So basically what happens is the noise gets run, then gets multiplied times the baseline value, in this case 0.5, and then the baseline value gets added on top as well. It's kind of the midpoint of the noise. Then there's a few new features down here. Absolute values. If we look at what it does, before it's kind of blackish, now it's all positive. And if you generate any noise, usually it's set up that it generates both negative and positive values. However, with absolute values, any negative value gets treated as a positive value. So that's why it goes white. Invert function is a new one. Previously we just had the color A and B, and if you wanted to invert the result, you would have to manually flip over color A and B. However, now with the invert, it basically just does it for you, and you can have any color in here and it'll invert it before the colors are run. Next thing is thresholding. That's been added to all of the new FBMs. So it just does the same thing as the regular threshold that you can download at IdeaScale. It's just integrating the noise because it's quite useful, and I personally tend to use it almost on every noise. So I just figured, why not put the values directly in there. You can just crunch it up, set the midpoint where values go towards color A or color B. Then there's a soft clip which adds like a bound to this value that just makes it a bit softer, so you don't always have the 100% crunchy result. Color AB is all the same. Transform hasn't changed that much functionality wise. It has changed quite a lot internally because it's now using the Mari function library. So always make sure to download that, otherwise you get a shader error and like a big red screen telling you something's wrong. Next up is the vector FBM. It's just called VFBM, and basically the values are all the same for the vector FBM as it is for the single FBM, except there's one new thing that's called scale. And you can only see if we compare the results. There's quite a change. If I just reset this. It's quite a different looking result between the two, and the main factor that generates this change is the scale. And you can see this, it kind of gives like these little scaly, almost like rice corns, and you can keep playing with that, and it does a quite interesting result. This is probably, if you set it to 0, it's probably closest than you would get to the regular FBM. It's not identical because the algorithm is entirely different. But yeah, that'll give you quite a different result. It's quite interesting, and again, all the thresholding is there. Quite useful for certain things. Again, absolute values gives you kind of like these ridges. Yeah, so that's a good one, and should be useful for some stuff. But other than that, there's not many other values to discuss. It kind of everything behaves the same as the regular FBM. Last but not least, there's the multi-FBM. And if you haven't watched the first video on the FBM, multi-FBM back from the Mari 2 release, I would suggest you watch it just to get a in-depth explanation. But just as a quick rehash, basically the base noise here is a regular FBM, and then we got a handle A and handle B. And what that allows you to do is map other noises to any value in the base noise. So instead of just having a constant value like the size, you can map the size, or you can map the octaves with a changing value out of a noise. And by default, the handle A is already mapped, so there's a secondary FBM mapping the octaves on the base FBM. And you have this drop down here, you just select what value to map, and then there's a remapping, and you basically set the values like for black and white that you want to apply. So we get different octave results here. And previously the mapping wasn't very clever. It gave a lot of harsh edges, and it wasn't a very smooth result. But now the algorithm is pretty much rewritten, and there's a lot of smoothing going on. So especially octave now is a lot more useful than it was before. Also, interface-wise, there's been a few changes. The new min and new max have been rolled into each handle. Previously, they were part of a separate group for each noise, which results in a lot of scrolling around, which is not very nice. Some new stuff here is these two option boxes. Negative is black and negative is transparent. And it comes down again to the fact that noises get generated negative to positive, so -1 to 1. So if I take the values from the second noise that I'm mapping on the octave and do a negative as black, you can see basically this is the pure noise shape that I'm getting out of the secondary noise. And there's a preview handle A, so this is the unremapped noise that gets generated by this box, by the handle A group. And you can see I'm getting the general shape and size of this noise just by propagating the negative values all the way through the base noise. If you do negative as transparent, then you get this area straight transparent, which is quite useful because you can put it into like your color layer straight away, for example, without having to mask stuff out. But also you can obviously, when you convert this to paintable, you can just generate a new an alpha just by right-clicking and then layer mask, add mask from alpha. The same feature exists on handle B. So if I map this, for example, to the offset and do a remap here, it should be worth noting that the remap, you should kind of take a look what the original value range was on the base noise or on any noise. For example, the offset here is 0 to 1, so while it might work giving mapping values over 1 here, generally the best results you can get when you kind of stick to values in the original range. So here, for example, 0.7 to 1 or 0.5 to 1. So that kind of gives you more plausible results than when you would do like 0 to 8 you get a lot of harsh features, which doesn't look very nice, but might be useful. But yeah, just keep that in mind. So if I do a negative as transparent on handle A and negative as transparent on handle B, and I just do a slight offset here, so you can see now I've got the combination out of handle A and handle B subtracted from the alpha, and same with negative as black. This is handle A, this is handle B. Currently there's no support for having mixed transparent and black, so if I want to have this black and this transparent, basically you can see it doesn't really work because the way the code is structured at the moment is just that's one line that does the combination, and it's either or, so you cannot combine it, unfortunately, at the moment. But that's alright. What else is new? The transforms are still the same again, offset, and yeah, like I said, just keep playing with it. There's definitely way more functionality, and the results are way better than they were before. You can use all the clipping to just give you different results, and there's a whole cheat sheet available in your zip file that you download from IdeaScale. There's a few different samples. For example, these are 2 different looks from the regular FBM, 3 different looks with all the settings on the side. This is for the vector FBM, and this is for the multi FBM, which gives you a lot of different results. So if you can't be asked to just keep playing with it, this would give you an idea what settings to set to get any of these results. And yeah, just hope it's useful. Keep playing with it, and that's it for now. Thanks so much for listening.